This is the state of the nation. Rifa Mwanga. We are deliberate, we are reasonable, we are uncensored. The state of the nation with Henry Sully. All right. Welcome to the State of the Nation. My name is Henry Sully of the African Alumni Association. As we always do, we wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto African Alumni Association operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across the Turtle Island, and we are grateful to work on this land. My name is Henry Sully. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's State of the Nation is slightly beyond the time it's usually hosted because we have kind of modified the conversation. We are going to be having a conversation with the UNA youth representatives, educating us on some of the processes a high school student goes through to ensure that they are ready for their dream university or college. Now, the word college and university are going to be used interchangeably because of the two contexts that we have. In the US, college could be also understood as university, but in the Canadian context, college is different from university. So we shall be using those words interchangeably. Of course, I'm going to be hosting this conversation with a colleague in the US, in Chicago, a media consultant, my friend, my brother, Mr. Salongo Robert Chigundu, who I will be introducing, who will be introducing himself very soon, and three youth representatives that you all already know, who will be introducing themselves as well. Unlike other discussions that we have been having, this is going to be more of a casual conversation between ourselves. When I say ourselves, I mean Mr. Chigundu and the three youth representatives. So it's going to be a conversation. We want to learn from them. Hopefully, they also have some questions that they might want to ask us as well. But there's also a financial advisor that will be joining us at the end of the conversation. Again, we would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who has joined us today. It is a pleasure to serve you, and we look forward to having an interesting conversation. All right, why don't we... All right. I'm going to start with Mr. Chigundu and invite him to introduce himself. Mr. Chigundu, where are you?
Hey. I am
here. All right. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, diaspora here in North America. My name is Salongo Chigundu here in Chicago. I am very excited to be a part of this evening's broadcast, this special edition, and we're going to be talking to the UNA youth. A little bit about me. The host, my co-host, introduced me as a media consultant, and I think I'm going to say I've earned that since my efforts began in this arena back in 2019 when we hosted the convention here in Chicago. I am very happy to be doing this for the Uganda North American Association. And as you can see in my background, yes, in many of you, if you have not been checking your emails, the next site and location for the next UNA convention was selected in San Francisco. It is going to be at the Hilton Union Square Be looking out for more messaging about that, or check your emails. But other than that, I am very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Chigundu. I am going to go forward and ask the ladies to introduce themselves. I think that the gentleman in the house, other than ourselves, will be introducing himself last. So why don't I start with Zash or Ziada? Nice to have you back. Miss Ziada, introduce yourself, please.
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Ziada Nanteza, and I'm back here from Columbus, Ohio. I'm the female youth representative, UNA, and so excited to be here. I've been here before, and I'm always looking forward to be here. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you. Carol Basemera, who are you and why are you excited to be here?
Hi, my name is Carol Besemera. I'm the female youth representative for Canada. I'm happy to be here because I like education. I like to talk to the parents and the students who want to join college. I want to encourage them that this is a good thing and it will definitely help them in the future. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you, Henry, about this and to the rest of the people. Yeah, let's do this.
All right, let's do this, but not before the gentleman in the house introduces himself. So, Mr. Farouk, what's going on?
Good evening, Henry. My name is Farouk. I'm the male youth representative for the United States. I'm happy to be here to talk about education and the progress through the high school education system of the United States. I want to thank everybody for attending and participating today.
Right. Thank you so much again for joining this conversation. Abasinga obungi mukimanyi nti nange ndi mugezaako kupashuinga misomo era nga ndi kukola misomo gyange egya PhD kulaba nti tutegeera ebintu bino bigenda bitya. I'm a specialist in educational policy, so this conversation is really close to my heart. So I'm excited to have this conversation go. There are so many things that we need to talk about. Of course, Thanksgiving is done, right? That means Black Friday is also done because today is Sunday. We are looking forward to Cyber Monday, which is a new phenomenon that has just become very popular in the last decade, I believe. So when the Cyber Monday is completed, what's going to happen next? We are going to start singing. It is the season to be jolly. So many people are going to be excited about the holidays or Christmas. And I'm going for vacation. Some are going to Kampala. Others are still going around the country, either in America or Canada. But some parents or some high school students are sitting on those dinner tables since Thanksgiving when they were having turkey. Questions have been shot at them. Which university are you going to? Which college are you going to? Which program do you want to pursue? These are conversations we have around the dinner tables. And with the holiday coming up, these questions do not stop. So for some students, their parents are heavily engaged in these conversations. And those conversations do not just stop in the dining rooms where they have the dinners. They also go to schools and find out, who is my child's guidance counselor? What are some of the conversations they're having with him or her? Which program does he or she want to pursue in college or university? Omwana wange agenda kubeera musomesa oba nurse, oba agenda kubeera musawo doctor, agenda kubeera lawyer oba agenda kubeera accountant. When do we make these decisions? How do we prepare ourselves to succeed in the application processes knowing very well that in North America, we are no longer in Uganda. You don't just have to go and study hard and cram each and every content that you have been taught in the last 4 years for O level or last 2 years for A levels and sit an exam and excel and be guaranteed admission to either Makerere or UCU or Chambogo or any other university. We deal with a completely different beast in America or in Canada. Farouk, you have been through this process. Ebintu bino bikola bitya? Why don't we start with you?
Well, I want to thank you for the question. In my estimation, the education process, as I have seen, getting to university, even though the summation of it could be the last 2 years of high school, but getting into the right places begins with about a 6-year process of putting together the way you shape yourself, the way you're seen, the things that make you different from everybody else. There's more to it than just attending school. Everybody attends school. In the United States, we have the No Child Left Behind policy that requires that kids below, I think, 17 have to attend school, right? But what else do you do to make yourself a better applicant for university? And that's the thing that we're here to address today.
Yeah, those are some of the things you are here to address today. The No Child Left Behind policy, I think, has been modified because that was George W. Bush's policy. Then Barack Obama came in, he modified it, as you will see when you look much more into that conversation as well. And right now, of course, when Trump came in, he also modified things a little bit. To some, it's for the better. To others, it's worse. And now, of course, there's a different kind of approach to this, especially with the pandemic going on. Salongo Chigundu, kibuzo kikyoyinira ani gweyagala okukisimba kusaawe.
Okay. Kanza okenziremu mbalamusa ate mu Luganda mu lulimi lwange lwensinga okutegeera amannya n'eddoboozi Salongo Chigundu. Nsanyusa okubalaba n'essiimye okuba wano kubanga ngenda okunyumyamu n'abavubuka bano abatayogera bategeera lulimi lwe nasoose kukozesa. Nasoose nga ngamba nti Uganda North America Association nze gye nkiikirira wano olwaleero nga nyenyigiramu ku ludda olw'okuba nti tugezaako okugitunda nze ndi kitunzi gwe mulimu gwange era nga nagambye nti omulaba emabega awo San Francisco ye hotel site eyalondeddwa egenda okubeera mu convention eddako ekyo mubeere nga mukyesonga era mweyongera okuba nga mutunula nga amawulire amalala gajja kubanga gajja kale kakati nga nkomyewo ku nsonga eyatukuŋŋanyiza wano olwaleero abavubuka nsanyuse nnyo okubalaba. Good to see you. Right, I'm going to go back into English because I understand you, the millennials, many of you who are trying to get this message to may not be speaking Uganda. So I'm going to be mixing and matching. I hope that is okay, right? Yeah. So the first question I have is that you guys were leaders, recently elected as leaders. So I assume you've been thinking about this from a leadership standpoint as well. I would like to get into the record whether you have actually been engaging your fellow leaders, right? Has this been happening about what you guys are thinking about as far as what to do and how to prepare to help our parents in North America, in our community, get ready for college and careers? Who is that? Let me go for who? Zash. Zash, what do you think? We've been talking to the leadership in the council where you represent, or anybody else who wants to go for it. Farouk, you want to go for it?
Maureen can go for it, I think. Have you spoken to the leaders? Do the leaders know what's going on?
Yes, we have spoken to several leaders. A couple of leaders were to introduce us to the UNA leadership. Right now we have some knowledge about it, and we are learning more as while we are exercising our leadership skills as well. That's a lot, and we have also introduced more to the leadership.
Right. Okay. How about Caroline?
Okay. Am I still going with the questioning? Yes, I think. Thank you, Zash, for letting us know that you're getting into the leadership roles with the bang. That is, you understand the importance of coordinating this with your fellow leaders. So next, I'm going to talk about ask what are the factors that parents should consider while helping their children pick colleges. Who wants to go for that?
We have a wealth of knowledge in the house. So I see Carol getting ready for that.
Yeah, I was getting ready.
Is Carol ready for that?
Yeah, for sure I can answer that. I'll speak about Canada specifically because I'm in Canada. What parents need, first of all, I think that they need to prepare for this in a way that this is them, that they're going to be part of this. They're the ones going to experience this. So I personally feel that the students need to know the pace at which they're going to go for in the colleges, because compared to the universities, the pace in the college is faster. The courses are shorter, more affordable than the university, but they're more intense. There's much more knowledge to share in college for such a short time. So students need to prepare for that. Then they also need to prepare how they're going to balance the academics and social life. That is very important, especially for their mental health. And for the parents, they mostly need to prepare to support the students, whatever they choose. I feel like parents need to empower their children and understand what they need and how they want to do it.
Right. All right. If you're a parent out there and you're listening to this conversation, you're welcome to shoot us a question. You can write it down in the comments, or you can send it to WhatsApp to any of the colleagues in the room, and we shall accommodate it. If you are a student, on the other hand, you have questions about you're a student, you are in grade 9, 10, 11, or 12. You have questions about which college you want to go to. How do you attain certain scholarships? How do you succeed? What are some of the strategies you should use as a student to be exemplary as you prepare for your university or college applications? In Canadians' context, students who are applying to colleges or universities do not need to sit for SATs. On the other hand, in the US, you want to go to college, you want to go to university, man, you got to prepare for your SAT. So how do you succeed in performing well on an SAT? And before you do an SAT, sometimes you do have what they call the pre-SATs, right? So I'm going to ask Farouk, first of all, why is it important for any Ugandan youth to aspire to go to university? Why should people care? Why should they think about going to university or colleges? And then if you also can, you can add in that aspect of the pre-SAT. Are they a reality? Should students be ready for SATs? How should they prepare? And why is it important for them to do well on a pre-SAT?
Right. Thank you for the question. Now, let's begin with the aspiration to go to college, right? Why should a child aspire to go to college? If we look at, let's say, the median income for East African born workers in the United States, it's about $61,000, right? But the median income for a high school graduate is $88,000, right? Sorry, for a bachelor's degree graduate. But that difference is big, right? But the reason you should aspire to go to college goes bigger than just the median income of earning. In a lifetime's worth of earning, people who attend college earn $1 million worth more in their work than people who did not go to college. That could mean things such as getting access to better loans, getting access to better health care, and all other things. And that trickles down to things like living longer. People who go to college live 9 years longer than people who do not. Why? Because if you go to college, you get a better job, you live in a better place, you get access to better food, you take better care of yourself, you have more time to sleep and relax and your body to heal and whatnot. So it compounds on itself, right? But if we look at the future, if you're a kid right now, as of 2015, 92% of jobs desire that you have some college education. 92% of jobs desire that, a college education. So if you don't go to college, you're limiting yourself to 8% of the jobs, and those will be the 8% of the least paying jobs to begin with. Now, another aspect of going to college is before you get into college, you start to think about ways you're going to pay for it because it's very expensive for, let's say, the United States, where you have to pay for it one way or another. And some of the things you can do in preparation to pay for college is to take standardized tests. A certain set of standardized tests like the SAT and the SAT give you the scores that colleges look at to say this person will be a good performer when they come to college in the first 2 years. That's what the SATs really do. They just tell colleges that this person will be a good performer. But there's something called the PSAT, the practice SAT, which in the United States begins to make sense in the 10th grade. If your child takes the PSAT in the 10th grade and they perform well, they get access to a scholarship portal or scholarship information. The information is sent to colleges, and there's a check-in process where colleges can keep track of your child, where your child can start to qualify for things like the National Merit Scholarship. And that becomes an opportunity for them to get more scholarships when they do graduate from college, when they do perform well on the SAT, which really matters. But it begins with the PSAT. If you do not take the PSAT, you're almost on nobody's board until you go and take the SAT years down the road. So in the 10th grade, every child has to be on the lookout for that.
Right, all right. Okawuliddeako sharinga yita munno gy'owuliriza ebintu bino. Ssaalongo Kigundu, nkulaba olina ebibuuzo bingi. Kiki ky'oyagala okubuuza omuntu addako? Oli muted, eh?
How about now? Can you hear me?
Kati oli bulungi.
Okay. Kale, kaakati ekibuuzo kye nabadde nsoose okulowoozaako ekyokuba nti why should the kids aspire to go to college? I think Mwami Farouk just answered that, didn't he?
Yes.
I want to make sure that okay. All right. Okay. So if kids have aspired to go to college and they've made a decision, perhaps in consultation with their parents, where they want to go to college, what strategies do they need to kind of consider in order for them to get into, for example, get scholarships? Because I know that that could be a help to the parents as well as the kids.
Right. Who wants to devour that question? Ani ddala tunyumya mbunyumya tetwagala bintu bifuula by'amaanyi nnyo tunyumya mbunyumya. Tukoze tutya ziada scholarships tuzijewa.
Scholarships at soccer, students have like to perform well in school. Never have like scholarship from their colleges, or from the counties where they reside, or from the state, something like that. But Nzenganze, for my case, what I did, like to get my scholarship, I joined the military. And I ended up like the first place I had like student loans, never covering. Then I was able to get Montgomery GI Bill, so which pays for my tuition and gives me upkeep every month as long as I'm in school. So such things, that's what I would like advise around parents to look into. Like, I really have here the details about joining the military and how it goes and how it works out. So I have all that with me. And about the state, the other thing, there are federal grants. That's what I wanted to mean. There are federal grants. A lot of students qualify for federal grants. That's what I also used. I used federal grants, but unfortunately, I was just new at that time in the country, so they considered me as an international student. The federal grants couldn't cover for my education. Then I also had a scholarship from school, which was like $1,000 every semester. It was really good for me. I used it. So I encourage students when they go in, parents should be so much supportive to their students. Kubanga okola kumenya abana, like they be working and they go to school. It affects their school. So those are the things that affects their chances of getting scholarship from school. But those scholarships are available everywhere. And for the military, that's a sure deal. As long as you raise up your right hand and say that you will join the United States Army and serve, you qualify to get the GI Bill, then you qualify to get the tuition assistance from the military, and you also, if you're National Guard, you will go to all state schools for free. So Obela na 3 different sources of income, and you can still pull out that income at the same time. You can get the income from the state, you can get the income from the FAFSA, which is like the federal grants and the other loans, but you don't have to take the loans out. And then you can get tuition assistance at the same time, and you can use your GI Bill. So one semester you end up finding yourself, you have like 4 different sources of tuition, and you don't even have to work. If you qualify for everything, you don't have to work. You just have to use that money and take care of yourself.
All right. Thank you so much. You brought in the aspect of the army, which I think I really appreciate that you brought it in for everyone in the US at least to take consideration of. In Canada, we do have a similar program. It's called the Cadet. Although that one is restricted to people or to teenagers between 12 years to 18. So 12, you're not yet a teenager, but you are getting into the teenage bracket. So if you are 12 to 18, you can take advantage of the cadet program. Become a cadet, a Canadian cadet, so that you can take advantage of some of those scholarships or grants that might be available for you. But Farouk talked about the PSATs. Could that also be an avenue to getting more scholarships? Farouk, why don't you talk about scholarships in your own realm as well?
I would say that the aspects that concern scholarships and getting scholarships begin with the 5 things that I believe are the most important for, not I believe, but the 5 actual things that affect your ability to get into college, right? Top grades. You have to get really good grades. Not the top, but really good grades to a certain point. Most scholarships have a GPA that they require. Most scholarships will require 3.0, 3.2, whatever it is, right? You have to perform well on standardized tests. Remember, you have to practice for standardized tests. Standardized tests do not test anything you've learned in school. They test your problem-solving skills, right? Scholarships are going to look at your score on standardized tests. You have to have meaningful extracurricular activities, right? These are activities that you're doing either completely away from school or part of school. This could be your things like your sports. This could be your volunteership. This could be your helping out at the local assisted living, right? Things that show your otherworldly skills, like being compassionate, being communicative, being entrepreneurial. You have to have letters of recommendation. Someone has to be able to speak on your behalf. It's not enough for you to say that you're a good student. Someone has to come out and say, yes, so-and-so is a good student, right? And that person is most usually going to be a teacher or someone of authority in your life. You can use people like your pastors if they can credibly give good information about you and talk about your character.
Yeah.
You have to have compelling essays. You have to know how to tell your own story, right? A lot of scholarships will ask you to write an essay about a time you had a difficult time, right? And you have to know how to tell your story. Those are some of the things that will affect your ability to get scholarships. You get all these links, but applying for a scholarship is its own thing, where you have to have achieved done these 5 things prior to that.
Right. Right. We do have an international student. Carol, I know, Carol, you came in as an international student. Do you have, could you tell us some of your experiences? Is there a possibility that one could actually qualify for grants when they get into university, or some sort of, they may not be direct scholarships. I know in Africa, there are some direct scholarships, for example, that are offered by the MasterCard Foundation. Also, the Pearson scholarships are also given to African and I think South American students. But as an international student yourself, are there any options? An international student in Canada or the US, and they came from Uganda, they're international students, and they're wondering, how do I take care of my rent? I'm running low on my rent. Are there any grants within universities when they get into university that they can access or apply for?
Thank you, Henry, for the question. Yes, like you said, I'm an international student, and I've associated with people who have actually gotten these grants and also have scholarships. And it's usually because they've either performed exceptionally well in their classes, but that's for the first year. So if you perform well, you're on the dean's list, then you can apply for the scholarship, and that caters for your stay in Canada. That is the tuition and your allowances for the semester. Also, if you're good in sports, like if you're a soccer player and you're in the team, you'll definitely get a scholarship or grant, and that is going to definitely support you through your program at school. It's encouraged to do that because it's very expensive. It's very expensive out here to study. So if you feel like you're good at a sports activity, why not do it and be able to that will help you cater for your school here. Yeah, that's the most I can say about the scholarships and grants in Canada.
Thank you so much. This is the state of the nation. Ibifa Mwanga. We are deliberate, we are reasonable, we are uncensored. The state of the nation with Henry Sally. Tugoberere ku YouTube ne ku Facebook omanye biki ebigenda maaso. If you're a student out there and you have questions, please post them in the comments section so that we can get into your mind. I would like to have everyone participate in this conversation. Send your questions in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking. Mr. Chigundu.
Yes.
Kiki kyogambe eggwanga?
Ate nze lwakuba nti bano batunuliranga bakulembeze still, and I'm very interested in the fact that they did step up to become leaders, right? And they were interested in these positions. So I'm still curious about their thoughts when it comes to the aspect of getting scholarships. Have you guys thought about how the community can come in? For example, the Ugandan North American Association. Have you thought about that angle? How can we, the community, assist the parents as well as their kids in getting these scholarships? Any thoughts?
Carol,
Yes.
do you want to take on that, or
Yeah.
who wants to take it on?
I can take it on. Although I see Farouk very
Enthusiastic.
Farouk, I'll go fast. Um, this first is our first initiative to put it out there because we're youth representatives. This is our first step to put it out more. This is the first step to introduce it to the audience out there. And African as under the UNA encourage people to attend the consecutive sessions that we shall have in future and the town hall that we'll have that will greatly go into depth of what we want to talk about education, about college, about universities, how to prepare, and what to do to get to that level. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Farouk.
Yes. I agree with what Carol is saying. There will be future consecutive talks about the presentation, and that presentation will be more detailed. But right now, what can the community do, the organization UNA do to help people get scholarships? Uh, I think UNA has to recognize its potential as a leadership organization that will look good on any applicant's resume to say that I am a youth representative for UNA, I am an intern for UNA, I am a collaborator for UNA. All these people, all these things are things that UNA can put forth and say we can help students collaborate in terms of growth, right? For example, high school students out there who want to participate in, let's say, film, who want to participate in volunteer opportunities, they can come and do those things under UNA's leadership and let UNA recognize them, put them front and center, give them certificates, let them be seen, such that the day that they go and apply for a scholarship, they have an entire organization backing them, right? There's professionals in UNA, accountants, lawyers, doctors, this and that. All these people can be there to be mentors. All these people can be there to be um, to help the students be their intern advisors, right? All this is a way to walk a child through a scholarship opportunity that makes them compete better than other applicants for the scholarships that will put them through school in most cases.
Right.
Nice. Yes, so, well, thank you very much, Farouk. I would like to hear Zash, or if she has some. Oh, looks like she maybe have stepped away. But I was going to say I wanted to hear what she thinks. Have we been encouraging, for example, our parents? Do we have enough information about how to go through the army and the advantages that come from there in terms of scholarships? As a community, I know, for example, we do have from the comments that I watch over our mediums of communication, I see that Major Musisi has been very instrumental in disseminating information about how people can get into a good, almost avoid paying for costs of any kind as far as going to college is concerned via that military channel. So I was looking to see if I could get some input from Zash, but it looks like she may have stepped away. But in the meantime, let's take stock. My mommy said, let's take stock of where we are. We started with how to get into college, the expectations, and we've looked at how to get scholarships, right? So the next thing would be what Carol brought up, which is, and Farouk followed, is that this is just the beginning. We are now getting into the very detail of this conversation. This is just an opener and also a hint as to what is going to come down the pipe, right? So, and today, I think I go back to the strategize and leadership capabilities of our youth. I am happy that you chose to say, let us go to the media and let's talk to the media about this so that we prepare the community for what is coming down next. Can you, Farouk, highlight a little more about let us articulate this clearly. What is going to come down the pipe after this? What should the community expect?
Thank you for the question. The community, what we're trying to put together at the moment as an organization, UNA, is first of all, this comes from Cincinnati. When we were campaigning, right, a lot of parents asked that the education system is hard to maneuver, right, to raise a Ugandan child here and get them through the system. And they look at you as someone who's either in the system or who has gotten through the system, and they say, how did you do this? How did you do that? What do I do with this? What do I do with that? How does my kid go from 10th grade? What should they be doing now that they're not doing, right? And so we found that there's a need for information. A lot of parents have those questions, and the kids themselves look at you with reverence in the sense that they know that you're doing something that they want to do and they want your information. So what we decided to do is to come up with a presentation on the education systems, not as best as we understand them, but as best as the information out there. So we took what we knew and we composed information from out there. We did research. Originally, we wanted this particular presentation to happen end of October, much earlier, right? But as we did more research, we found that there's a lot of information that even we did not know. So we continue to gather that information and we continue to make extensions. And after coming up with this presentation, we find that it's not enough to just present this information on a website. It's not enough to just put it out there in PDFs. We have to do a town hall, right? Where we encourage people to come find out more, to come find out the impactfulness of this information, to come and participate and have their individual questions answered. So we're preparing a town hall for a future date where we shall expand on many of these things that we're talking about, because a lot of times you're hearing about them right now, just like you've heard about them before. You're hearing on the face value, but what is the preparation behind that? There's a lot of work you can do to prepare yourself for the SAT that we cannot go into full depth right now, but we encourage you to stay tuned for a town hall that will come in the future. And we encourage you to bring more people within your circles who have high school students, who have people who aspire to go to college, parents, to come and understand what is it that their participation role can be beyond just providing shelter and clothing, right? There's an active role you have to take in your child's journey to college as a parent.
Right.
All right, great. Oh, thank you. So before I let you go, and before I take this back to Henry, it looks like Zash may be having an emergency, so I'm going to ask you to give a response, if you can, about the military angle and as far as careers, scholarships are concerned, the military route.
Yes. So in the United States, the high school students have an extracurricular program in the schools called the NJROTC. I think it stands for National Junior Army Reserve Training something. What it really does is that I think in 10th grade is when they can sign up for it. Parents can sign their kids up for just an extracurricular activity in school. And around school, if students can attend to this, you'll see students on certain days, let's say Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays, they wear like uniforms. Remember, like the Boy Scout uniforms we wore at school? These kids will wear like a cadet uniform, right? And they take part in training and drills and marching, and they do their physical upkeep, which is push-ups and running a little while here and there. They might entertain at football games. But what really this does is that it trains a student for cadet to be a cadet, right? And it's a way for a student to transition into the military, the military option of post high school education, because it is beneficial, right? For not everybody. Not everybody can afford college. Not everybody can afford to say that I know what I'm doing, that I'm going to go to college direct. Some people need that time span, right? Between the years being 17 years old and choosing something that's going to define the rest of your life. Some people might need to go to the military to figure themselves out, and you have to be willing to accept that. So the NJROTC is an extracurricular activity that you can ask about at your school, your child's school. So your child takes part. It does not mean that your child is going to join the armed forces, but it certainly makes it easier for them to get scholarships within schools that produce a lot of people who go to the military, right? It makes it easier for them to have an extracurricular activity that helps them see the world. The people in the NJROTC get to travel around the country, right? Sometimes they're in New York and they're seeing, I don't know, Ellis Island. They're seeing this and that, and these are experiences that help your child grow, right? So beyond just scholarships, the NJROTC can help your child get into West Point, right? West Point is one of the best universities in the world for training cadets and free education. And I don't think you get in there without being part of the NJROTC in your local school.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Before we get off this topic, I just wanted to also say one additional thing, and I'll hand it over back to you, Henry, which is the importance of students showing up and being present out where the opportunities might be. You never know when you volunteer, either in UNA, for example, when the conventions are being prepared, you never know who you're going to run into and who they're going to introduce you to. So showing up like you guys just did, you say, let's go to the media, let's talk to these people. You're putting into the public domain what you are capable of doing. You're showing interest, initiative. These things is what is going to help you make that connection to who. Not only the college will be able to see, for example, that you got a certificate of recognition for having helped organize a convention, but you also, for example, coming to a media house like this and talking to about a subject, or helps build confidence in you, and also shows the public and in the public are scouts, for example, that are looking for talent and such things, helps one make the case to those potential recruiters, those potential partners that one can find in life that can help you get not only a scholarship, for example, even an internship when you finish at the end of the college. So I thought I'll speak about that at this point. But thank you very much, guys, for your thoughts. I think you guys are doing a wonderful job. Keep doing it.
Right. This is the state of the nation. Irifa Mwanga. We are deliberate, we are reasonable, we are uncensored. The state of the nation with Henry Sally. Nga akantu ako wekakugambye, genda ku YouTube nonya Henry Sally wegwette ku mukuto gwa State of the Nation. Find out some of the conversations that we engage in on a regular basis. You might learn a thing or two. Carol Basemera, we have been talking a lot about our expectations or parents' expectations of a student going to college or university. Do colleges have expectations of their students or for their students? What are some of the college expectations for a student?
Henry, I didn't get that question. Could you please?
What are some of the college expectations
Repeat that?
of a student applicant? Other than just good grades, other than just that you have to pay your tuition, other than just that you have to be ready to engage in college or university content, what are some of the other expectations that colleges have of their students or student applicants?
Okay, I'll speak from my experience of university. What they expect for us is for us to be part of the university, because if we're part of it and we like what we're doing, if we have more information about the university by being part of it, it will reach out to other people to join the university or college. So they expect us to help out, be in the student services, be in the student unions, and volunteer, be active. And through that, you can get the students get life skills that can be used after work in your professional careers. So, yeah, I think they mostly expect us to, apart from tuition and having good grades, they expect us to um, be part of the college or the university for their benefit, mostly.
Right. Anyone else want to chime in that conversation? Zash, welcome back.
For their benefit. What I'm curious about that. For their benefit is. Can you a little bit elaborate on that a little bit, please, if you can?
Yeah, sure, I can. I'll give an example. If if I'm in this particular university and I'm studying, I'm volunteering, I'm in the student union, I know what is happening in the university. I know the different events that are happening each week, each time. So I'm encouraging students to come into the university. I'm encouraging the students who are still in Uganda or still in other countries to come and be part of this university because I'm involved and I'm showing them that this is an exciting thing to do. And yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Understood. Thank
They'll
you.
just be part of this.
All right. Thank you.
Faruko, yongerako.
Yes, I believe that in every situation where a college admissions person comes in and they talk about their school, a lot of times they talk about the need to shape the college classroom, right? They want to know what is it that this particular person coming in can add to the classroom, right? Are you going to be a person who attends class and does not participate, right? Are you going to be a person who's going to be on campus and see something happening and not take part, right? Colleges want to see people who are engaged. They want to see people who are in search of knowledge, right? They don't want you to just be a person who's going to college to be going to college. They want to know that you're in college and you're curious, right? They want to know that you're a person who's ready to ask questions, a person who's ready to change the world. Not that you should go out trying to change the world, but a person who's ready to do that if it comes to that. And a lot of that they can assess based on what you have done prior to applying to college, right? What have you shown on paper? Your extracurriculars, of course. Who are you engaging with? Who are your circles, right? And a lot of that you can see on things like social media. If I go on your Instagram page and all I see is pictures of you smoking, I don't know what that points to, but I know a college is not looking for that. If I see that in your social media you're traveling around your state doing some volunteer work here and there, for me as a college admissions person, it would look like this is a person I want involved in my community. This is a person I want to bring in because they change the environment that they're involved in.
Right, right. In that case, also, how do you get into an Ivy university or college? Right? Because we all go to state colleges. It's easy for it's easy for Ugandan students specifically or African students to access any of the universities or colleges within our jurisdictions. But how does one get into Yale or Harvard or UC Berkeley or University of Toronto?
From what I would advise, from what I've gathered, is that there's a set of classes that every high school offers, right? And the set of classes are students who will be accepted to, and this is very important, right? Not applying to, but who will be accepted to, let's say, a vocational school versus a 2-year college versus a state public college and an Ivy League college are two different classes. What does that mean? Let's say if your high school academic plan, you have to have a high school academic plan. This is something you should ask for in ninth grade, right? The academic plan sets out all the classes that you need to take to graduate on time. And your academic plan can have the basics of the basics, right? It can say by 10th grade, you're taking geometry, 11th grade, you're taking Algebra 2, 10th grade, you're taking, 11th grade, you're taking Algebra 2, 12th grade, you're taking pre-calculus. And that will be the requirement that maybe a state public university is looking for. But say you want to go to Harvard, you will find that your school offers what is called advanced placement classes, right? Harvard is going to look at your GPA, not only like Harvard, Yale, and all other Ivy Leagues and great universities out there. They're going to look at your classes that you took to begin with, that you challenged yourself. That is the biggest question everybody's looking for if you're going to some of these great universities. Did you challenge yourself in the courses that you chose to take, right? Did you take advanced placement classes? Did you go above and beyond, right? So while other students, let's say in 12th grade, were taking pre-calculus, you are on calculus BC. That means you took summer classes somewhere such that you were able to take calculus, right? That did you take advanced English, where if you took advanced placement classes, it shows that you challenged yourself, but even your GPA has a better weight. A person who took AP classes with a 3.7 GPA, their GPA is not the same as a person who did not take advanced placement classes with a 3.7. Those are two different GPAs. One is heavier than the other because one took more advanced placement classes. And then you add on all the other things we've talked about, like extracurricular activities. I keep saying that that's very important. Extracurricular activities, keep that in mind. Recommendations, right? And this is what is the beginning step to even be considered into Ivy League colleges.
Right. Mukategedde ako gwali eyatulaba okategedde ako. Have you understood how you get into Ivy colleges or universities? Right? If you haven't, there's a town hall coming up as it has been revealed to us now. But I want to give Zash an opportunity to tell us something about universities, colleges usually tend to be communal places, right? In other words, most of the folks you hang out with, you also end up in either similar universities or similar colleges, or you either end up in similar vocational schools. So tell us about social capital, social and cultural capital, because as Ugandans, we have our own cultures. Bazadde baffe baganye okusoma bintu ki batuyigiriza nga tuyiga okusoma, like are there any benefits for building strong social or cultural capital, and how do you do that as a step to getting into university or applying for university? Do our friends matter?
Well, I would say at a certain point, our friends greatly matter. And at another point, I would say that some of them don't matter. You have to look at the friends you have and say who's really important in my life, who's beneficial. Like everything we do, like everybody has their own lifestyles and they have the way how they deal with their lives and how they do their things. But if you're somebody who's really focused onto something, who wants to do something, you look into your friends and see who's really important to me. I'm not saying you should ignore everybody, like you should ignore your friends because so-and-so is not going to school or because so-and-so is not doing the same thing that you're studying. But you have to choose those friends whereby, like, if I'm with somebody and I'm going to talk about a class, that person will be able to understand that class or will be able to understand the life I'm going through, like school. Because it's so hard. Like when you come here, when you come from Uganda and you come here, the education system here is way different from like the one back in Uganda. It might seem to look easier because you can go to school and work and have your own life, take care of yourself. But I would say it's so challengeful in another way. So you have to choose those friends who are really supportive to you, or make those friends who are going to be supportive to you. Look out those people who might like things that you like, or who might do things that add something to you, or who can help you around. Then
right. So what you're talking about is social capital, and what you're saying, which I hope the people out there are going to understand is that your friends do matter. The people you choose to associate with on a daily basis will influence your decisions, whether you go to college or university, whether you go to vocational institute, or wherever you end up in life, which programs you take. These are all things that are going to help you out in your process of applying and succeeding to get into college. How you get yourself ready depends on who you hang around on a daily basis, and how they and some of the conversations that you have on a daily basis. I wonder if any one of you wants to add on that. Carol, do you want to add on that? Do you think your friends influenced your decisions, or do you think it's irrelevant?
We all have to agree that college is not just about the academic life. It's about the people we surround ourselves with while with people. So the people who surround us somehow affect our decisions in school and life generally. So it is mostly, we're gonna hear. Most people listen to what's on social media. They're pressured into, if you see a good show on TV where they're chefs and they're doing so well out in society, you feel maybe I should study and become a chef. Maybe I'll do well once I'm done with my course in culinary arts. But it may not be the same for you because you are not passionate about that. So I should listen to so many different ideas, so many opinions from our parents, from our friends, our close friends. At the same time, we need to know what we are passionate about, what we want to do. As if I sit down in my room one day, what thoughts run through my mind? What do I feel like I want to do? What is that something that I want to do that is going to keep me going, even though I'm not paid for it, but I can do it with so much joy. That's very important. Although, like I said, we're affected by the so many opinions from around the world. People say so many things. They say when you become a doctor, on top, you're going to do so well. But even if there are musicians, we've seen musicians who are doing so well in their careers. We've seen artists. Somebody's drawing a picture and they're doing so well, getting so much money for their jobs. So it's good to listen to the different opinions and why they have that opinion. But at the end of it, I think we in ourselves, we know what we want and we know confidence to go out there. So that's what we should dwell on, importantly.
Farouk.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, man.
In the Farouk, I think I started watching the chat in a little bit, and I saw some commentary from some of our followers. Olivia Sanyu, RDH Chicago, has made a comment, as well as our Vice President, Joan Bavuga, also encouraged you, in case you didn't see that comment. He says, "So proud of you, our youth representatives." So she's very proud of what you guys are doing, and you guys taking on this initiative. Mutane sokole emirimu ejaba tesa mu office. Kakati, Olivia Sanyu, Wawano mu Chicago, says, do these grants apply to everyone who wants to continue with education, regardless of their status in Canada or US? I think we may be ahead of this comment, but we can still go back to it. She's wondering, it seems to me, that these grants that you guys talked about, from the military, from whatever other channels, do they apply to everyone? And maybe she's thinking about those in immigration status of a student, for example. I'm thinking so, but are there any any reason why one would not qualify for a grant or a scholarship, for example?
Because of their status.
Because, say, for example, of their status or anything that you guys know, that Olivia can take away. Immigration came to mind, but you guys may have something else to say.
Yes. I think regarding status, right? We have to remember one thing that is about grants and scholarships. They're very specific about where they come from, right? A scholarship coming from, let's say, the Culinary Association of Las Vegas, right? These are the people who cook for all the restaurants in Las Vegas, could say, we don't care if you're a United States citizen or permanent resident, documented or undocumented. If you want to study, we're giving out a $5,000 scholarship, right? That could be their criteria. A scholarship coming from, let's say, HP, right? Howard and Parker, the guys who make the computers, could say you have to be a United States citizen or a permanent resident. So there's so many scholarships and grants out there, and they all depend on where they're coming from and how those specifications are. And that's one way to look at status, right? Being legal, illegal, documented, undocumented. But there's also the status of, are you a continuing education person? Meaning maybe you have a bachelor's degree and you're changing careers, or you're adding on to going for master's, or let's say you're a person who did not finish college and are you going back to college. There's scholarships for everybody out there. You just have to find them, and for majority of them, the government has scholarship pages where you can go and see all the scholarships that apply to you based on what state you're in, your status, your current school year. It's a lot of looking around, and I believe at some point we might be able to compose a page that compiles that information.
All right.
Right.
Can you still? It sounded like you guys were getting an echo from me. Is that so?
Yeah.
All right. So Henry, please go ahead. I think maybe I put on my phone here. I was trying to read that.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That could be the reason why.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but so far so good. The conversation seems to be going smoothly. Mwami Kigundu watusuubiza nti waliyo omugezi agenda okubuulirira abazadde mu preparinga mutya okusasula college tuition w'abaana bammwe. Keep in mind that it doesn't matter how much scholarship you are getting from colleges and universities. There are some expenses you will have to incur either as a student yourself or your parents, whoever is taking care of whoever is taking care of you, either yourself or as a parent taking care of your child. Bajja kusaba eza renti oba eza mafuta, transport, biki. How do parents and students prepare for their finances? Mwami Kigundu, ani agenda otusomesa ebya finances? Era mwali mu kitundu oba tannaba?
Tannaba, but twabadde tunuwadde essaawa. It looks like we are on top of the hour. I'm hoping you're not getting an echo from me. Are you?
No, you're good.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so I think, Muchala Golda Namara. Golda Namara is a financial expert. She saw our communication, our advertisement that we're going to be talking about college preparedness and that sort of a thing. And she thought we needed to also bring in the financial angle. This is what does it mean to get a Pell Grant as compared to a full-out student loan? What should one think about? What kind of commitment is that? In as many people will hear from her, I'm going to try and find her. But we all know student loans is a lifetime commitment.
Right.
Even if you go into bankruptcy, you just can't get out of a student loan. So one needs to seriously think about how much student loans they take on, because you may find it a burden. That's why it actually becomes very important to pursue these other ways of funding one's education, scholarships and others. So I see that Golda says she's on, but let me make sure that she's into the right.
Yeah, she's on, but I think before she speaks, I'm going to invite Farouk to tell us from the student's perspective. Yeah, she's here. So, but before she tells us anything, I want Farouk to tell us from the student's perspective. Twetegeke tutya abavubuka abali abakutunuulidde abagamba ono omusajja ayagala genda mu medical school ye ebintu bino abibala atya yetegesa atya nnyonnyola omuzadde n'omwana.
From the aspect of determining, I can address that in the aspect of determining and choosing a school, right? I want to remind parents that at some point in high school, the best place I would say is about 10th grade, end of 10th grade, that you have to start considering the schools your child wants to go to begin with in 10th grade and make a list of them. In most cases, you want to look at the schools nearest to you and determine. Now you have to schedule visits to these schools and determine when you get there, look at the schools and see what is the cost of attending this school, right? What are the aspects that will affect my child's education in this school? One way to look at the aspects that would affect the child's ability to attend the school would be, let's say, is the school in a rural area where my child will have to need a car to attend this school? That would make it too expensive for us, right? Is the school in the city where my child can take a bus in and around the school, right? And then you want to look at things like that are going to affect costs, like the cost of textbooks. As a student, it hurts me right now thinking about the cost of textbooks. Some textbooks are $250, and that's just it, right? You want to see what's the school's policy. Some schools have something like a library policy where they're like, if you're taking a class and that class needs a textbook, we're going to keep that particular textbook in the library, and you can go in and take pictures of the sections that you need to read. That cuts. Imagine being able to do that, and you don't have to buy a $250 textbook. It changes everything for you, right? As a student on day to day, that you don't have to push out $250. But also you want to know how the school, how much the school costs after financial aid. That's very important to know. You want to know how does the school connect you after graduation, right? Do they help you get jobs? What is their network? Where do people who go to that school, where do they go after graduation? It's very important to consider all these things in college visits and making a list of schools and knowing more information about them. And we shall address more of that in the town hall to come.
All right. Mr. Salongo Chigundu. What's the sound of Mr. Salongo Chigundu? You're muted.
All right, sorry about that. Well, Salongo seba better Salongo to younger okechira. Yes, chechi genda maso. Yeah, kakati Farouk so webale nnyo. Ngezaako okwogera ku Luganda because I know we have a mixed audience. So bavuka mwebale nnyo, mwebale obubaka research gwe mukoze, okunoonyereza kwe mukoze ne presentation eno gye mukoze olwaleero. Era nze kati nina akabugumu okuba nti ngenda ekyokusuubira mu maaso ayo. Town hall eyo bwenejja wenna munaaba mugitadde oba munaaba mugitadde mu bwengula, nanze bwe mbuyita in virtual format oba on the ground. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Kansuubire nti ate era muli mutunudde ne mu maaso eri nga mutunutandisa okutunuuliza ku San Francisco ki kye mugenda okukola as part of that convention. Or if not yet, I would like to tickle your minds ahead of time. Mubeerenga mu kirowoozo ko I think kijja kuyambako okwa-attractinga abavubuka mu UNA kubanga feedback gwe tufuna oluusi abaana bagamba nti conventions tezibeeramu programming ffe ebitunyumira ebitukwatako, so munaatandika okubanga muba mobilizinga nga mubengaginga mutuddize feedback eyo muwandiikire communications@unaonline.org. Already muba encouraging reaching out that way. Name already muli mu bukulembeze, so you know how to find the convention COO. Tubeerenga tufuna relevant programming anagenda anatuyambako okwa-attractinga abaana era nze mba nsuubira nti n'abazadde baabwe bajja kugirako. Having said that, I would like to, yes, I think, is it time, Henry, for me to invite our financial expert, right? I don't think anybody else has something to say. There are other two questions in the comments. Let me try to read them again without causing any echo. Hold on one second. Before I invite Golda, let me see if I can catch those questions in the comments without causing any echo. Or let me mute myself one.
naye nga tukwebaza gwe wenna at following olwaleero weebale kuba nti otuwadde obudde bwo. If you're a student who is trying to get into college or university, you're trying to prepare yourself for that conversation, reach out to us, send us an email at africanalumni at gmail.com.
Nabadde nemutinze ndowooza tulwandabyo nadde nemutinze naye nadde ngezaako obutafuna echo.
Right.
Nga wabadde onsabye ensome ku comments eziri mu wano nga tetunagenda eri Golda.
Right.
Waliwo eyagambye etalinaako linnya naye yagambye ST yagambye nti what makes colleges and universities so different? Why does it matter which of the two you choose to go to? Ani ayagala okukwanganga ekyo?
Farouk.
Why should I choose? One should choose the University of Toronto as opposed to the other university, and what goes into those choices?
I think this is a question that both of us need to answer, Carol and I, being that I can only answer the United States perspective. In the United States, the difference between college and university, in colloquial speaking, day-to-day speaking, there's no difference. But in terms of particulars, as you would understand them, and you say a college is a 2-year institute, meaning you can get an associate's degree from there, and a university is a 4-year institute, meaning you can get a bachelor's degree from there. What difference does it make? A lot of times colleges are local and they're county sponsored, right? In the county that you live in. Like, let's say in my county is Montgomery County, Montgomery College. In PG, which is Prince George's County, there's PG College, community college. And what it is that colleges are usually cheaper in the first 2 years, right? So sometimes you can pay for them out of pocket, right? And where tuition could be, let's say, $4,000 a semester, and you work and you study and it's more flexible for you. And after those 2 years, you get an associate's degree, which in some cases could help you get intermediate jobs as you transfer to a 4-year school to do the last 2 years of your degree to get a bachelor's degree. That is usually a cheap way to go about it, and it's very favorable to a lot of people to afford college. The other option, which is the more traditional option, is going to a university, which is a 4-year option, meaning from high school, you apply direct to university, you do 4 years, and you have a bachelor's degree. So really the difference is just the amount of time and the degrees that the two offer, that one offers an associate's degree, one offers a bachelor's degree. And then the biggest thing becomes cost. I did the college and then university option. It saved me a lot of money. So
Right.
I'll recommend it to anybody who's cost conscious for the United States option. I think Carol can address the Canada option.
Robert,
Carol,
could you
I
please? Yeah.
I can help you if you want.
Okay. Thank you, Henry.
Okay, so since I'm in the education system myself, so in the Canadian context, there's a difference between college and university. So in the Canadian context, we don't really have that aspect of an associate degree. When you go to college, you get a diploma. Or you get so in colleges usually there are different things that you can do there. A person from a university can go to college to get a postgraduate diploma, or you can go to college straight from high school to get a diploma still, right? So in order to go to college, you are streamed. So we have what we call streaming here. You are streamed in high school. So for parents who are in Canada, you have to think about those things. Which stream is your child in when they're in grade 11, 12, or 10, 11, 12, right? Are they in applied or academic? If you're in academic, you are aiming for university education. If you are in applied, you are aiming for college education, right? You could live, and usually you could spend 2 years or 4 years, even when you're in college, actually. So you could spend 4 years, and so some colleges here give degrees, but you have to study for 4 years. But they're still colleges, right? But mostly they give diplomas for 2 years, certificates, postgraduate diplomas for students who have gone to university, studied a program in university. You could study communication in university and decide that you want to go into public relations. So for that, you have to go, instead of doing a master's right away, you could go for a postgraduate diploma and do public relations in a college. That's usually also 2 years. So those are the differences between colleges and universities for the Canadian context. But you can detect this in high school. So ask, and this is why it's very important for parents to be engaged in your child's education. Because if you're not engaged, you won't know. Your child might be advised by some of the guidance counselors that, you know what, you go for applied, without telling them that you are likely going to end up in college. So you might be at home thinking that whatever money that I'm saving for my child's education, I'm saving for university. But because you haven't been engaged in your child's education, the guidance counselor advised your child to go in the applied stream, which means they're going to end up in college. And you're going to find out this in 12th grade when they're applying for colleges or universities. Then you're going to be very mad or depressed because your child, you realize they're applying for colleges and you want them to apply for universities. But when you go to school, they'll tell you that your child has been in applied, which means they're going to end up in college now, but they could go to university later on, right? So it is important for parents, have these conversations with your children. Munyumye n'abaana bamwe mumanye biki bye basoma, lwaki babisoma, why are they interested in these programs, right? Omwana baba ali interested in music, for example, tembagaana nti lwakuba mwagala basindika mu busawo oba mu bwaloya oba mu whatever, some of what the Ugandan community deems the prestigious professions, right? Support your children, your kids, your teenagers to do what makes them thrive, right? Because when someone thrives, so for example, if someone wants to go into acting, don't deter them. If they have that talent and they are going to thrive, support them, even if it means going to college. And then if they ask you for some sort of sponsorship to go to LA for an internship that might kickstart their acting career, send them to LA, even if it means spending $20K for 6 months or for 8 months. Send them to LA or send them to New York. Send them where you think whatever that internship they are going to do might actually help them kickstart their career. Ebintu bino tubimanye naye tugenda bimanyanga tunyumya n'abaana baffe. We have to be friends to our kids, to finding out biki bye baagala, where do they thrive most, right? Lwaki siita Ssaalongo na introducing a financial advisor n'atuwa ku magezi eky'essente ekyo twetaaga okukimanya. We need to know what's going on. Kiki ekyo tulina okukola okusucceedinga.
Exactly. Era nga n'omuzindalo ngutaddeko ssebo weebale nnyo okufunzafunza bw'otyo n'okulambulula bikwenda bitya ku kibuuzo kya munnaffe yayise ST oba yabadde era Olivia naye saalebe kulinnya naye tukwebaza nnyo olw'ekibuuzo ekyo. And on this very juncture, I would like to welcome Golda Namara. Golda Namara saw our advertisement, our flyer, and with the knowledge that she has, the expertise that she has, she thought, why not come in and talk about, if we're talking about readiness for college, these money aspects that, as I hinted earlier, what should be the considerations going into this? What kind of loans or financing should one seek? So without so much further ado, please let me get Golda Namara onto the screen, and she will introduce herself in greater detail. Golda, thank you very much for reaching out. That is great. We hinted about this earlier, the idea of showing up. If you did not reach out to me to say, hey, that topic, I have something to say, I wouldn't have known. So I appreciate you we appreciate you for having done that. It speaks to what the youth informed us about earlier, which is show up. If you got the convention, go volunteer somewhere, somebody is going to recognize you and maybe accord you an advantage that you would not believe, or you wouldn't have had access to if you didn't show up. So thank you very much. Take it over, Golda.
Okay, my name is Golda. Simanye oba buli omu ampulira bulungi.
Tukuwulira bulungi.
Okay, Bambi, thank you so much for first and foremost availing me an opportunity to share because information eno jengenda okugabana will be mixing Luganda and English. The information I'm going to share today is very, very important. It is very important that we as immigrants, whether in Canada or in the USA, change our attitude towards finance, especially finance that relates to education. So Salongo simanyi oba mukyampulira bulungi kuba ndaba screen nsigaddeko bw'omu.
Yes, okay,
that's very good. Yeah. So my name is Golda Namara. I'm a licensed financial professional here in Massachusetts, USA. I'm originally from Uganda, from Kabale. I did my 2 degrees when I was back home in Uganda, one in information science, and my master's is in agribusiness, and I'm currently doing my degree in paralegal studies here. While doing my degree for paralegal studies, I had an assignment concerning mainly student loans, and I discovered information that relates both to my profession and to my community that I think I should really share tulabe engeri gye tukwasaganyaamu kino ekintu before it really goes out of hand. So I've been on the platform listening from the time we began, and I'm really, really impressed. I've learned a lot of things from all of you, a lot of information, a lot of experience. Naye nja kulemerako ekyo ekya ssente kuba kikulu nnyo. Nti ekisookera ddala, we as immigrants, as we plan for college, as we look at these scholarships, as we look at these loans and where we can find them, we must be prepared. Nti abazadde n'abakulembeze bannange abali ku thread eno oba abali ku lukuŋŋaana luno, tuteekemu effort, tusomese abazadde, tusomese abato, the young people, the young generation that is coming up, because student loans, especially here in the USA, is a time bomb. It is a ticking time bomb. That's why you see, like for the private colleges, of course, you find Fabariyo, we who have just come from Africa, and we do not know really the consequences of some of these loans, as I'll be elaborating here down. Basically, as a background, 19 states here in the USA, when you default on your student loan payments, they suspend your professional license. So you can imagine you go to school, you study, you're so happy you're studying something you wanted to do, but you wake up in the morning, you're unable to pay, and the license is gone. Especially bw'oba wasoma ekintu nga tewakisoma nti okisoma kukuyambako to secure your future, naye nga okisoma for passion. Nti bw'oba wakusoma ekintu for purposes of passion, kikole ng'okozesa scholarship, kikole bazadde bo bwe baba nga balina ssente naye era nakyo ekyo, that is not a financially smart decision. Kikole, maybe if you inherited a large sum of money, and I'm going to give you the reasons why. Here in the US, unfortunately, safunye budde bu researching nnyo ku Canada. I don't know why I assumed that this was for US only. Nga bwe mbagambye mu kutandika, 19 states is suspending a professional license. Over 5 states suspend your driver's license if you're delinquent on your student loans. You cannot get additional student loan. Let me say you first finish your years as so say, let me say you start in a community college and you want to transfer, transferring and was auto, but like you might graduate and you want to upgrade, tebasobola kwongera sente. If you default on your student loan, you cannot get your tax credits back, as in otandika okukola no filing emisolo naye nga sente zonna it goes to pay for your penalties for late payment and for your interest and the rest zoba olina okusasula. And 90 days after you default here in the US, by law, the people who manage student loans are supposed to inform the credit bureau, and they put your account in collections, which means that even if you're starting your adult life, you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, or you want to get maybe any other lines of credit that can help you start a meaningful life, it is impossible, or it will be very hard for you. And in 9 months, your student loan, if you have not started paying 9 months after you graduate, after your due date when you're supposed to pay, and your loan goes to collections, guess what? The student loan in the US is the only loan they're allowed to collect in any way possible. Bakkiriza okubanja mu ngeri yonna yonna esoboka. And it is the only loan you cannot write off with bankruptcy. That is how serious it is. And for example, I have been hearing from the beginning, we are talking abazadde. Naye bannange, young people, I'm telling you, that structure of abazadde was for Uganda. Here, the loan is yours to carry. Yes, bw'oba olina omuzadde nga mu butuufu naye amanyi lwaki yakuzaala, asobola okuyambako. But for me, as a financial professional, I go to different places teaching, as sharing with Salongo. Nti no sisinkana abazadde. For example, there is a church I went to. I met the youth first, and they were concerned that their parents are not paying their loans on time, or that their parents are not talking about any plans for payment of their loans. And when I went now to the adult church, abakulu nga bangamba bana mwayogedde nabo ku ngeri gye banaasasulamu ssente. So, that student loan affects you. Most of the parents, by the way, I talk to have plan B of going back to Uganda, but most of you young people, even including myself, my plans of really going back to Uganda and settle there are very limited. And because you're going to be in here, because this is going to be your home, you must have a plan. Tujja kuba, it is very good nti mugenda kutegeka like other engagements, so we shall be sharing a number of things that we can do really to prepare. Naye mbegayiridde ebyabazadde okulowooza nti bajja basasulira loans, nabo wano bills bali one. They have to pay mortgages, they have cars, they have so many people they are looking after back home. They have so many crosses to carry. And besides, like if you have observed the young people, especially the whites and the Indians and the Chinese, most of their children get jobs like in between, and then they break their courses into units. Like for me, by the way, let me tell you, for me, I'm a student in my college, and how I've done it, first and foremost, I do not take so many courses at the same time. And like Mwamilule, the way he was sharing, I look out for the courses that are meaningful, courses that I'm passionate about, because I'm a paralegal student. I could go do, funny courses just, to get the credits past time and go. But I make sure I choose courses that I can even, like, for example, this semester I'm doing a mediation course. After this semester, that course alone comes with a certificate that I can use outside to even make money before I graduate. Choose whatever courses you're choosing with the end in mind. Nga bwe tugenda okuba nga tulaba wano ate tosoma busomi, don't do things very fast to graduate. No, concentrate, and if possible, you reduce your load. You give whatever load you have enough time. No bisoma, no bimala. Naye ngenda kuba sharing just a few tips, and then another time when we have adequate time, we can always look at some of those, but a number of them have been shared. Like, for example, being in the honors clubs. For me, I'm a member of the National Society for Leadership and Success. Just being on that platform, we see so many scholarship opportunities that the rest of the students don't see. Every semester, they are bringing us new scholarship opportunities. We have mentors, we have people who are teaching us so many other things that apply to life and success that other students are not getting. So if you get an opportunity to join an honors club, don't take it like a joke. It's something very important. I'm also a member to the PTK Honors Society, which also comes with a number of scholarships and a number of successful people to help mentor. And of course, volunteering, they really consider that for me. I know for sure that just going and volunteering in your city, in your nursing home, in your church, in organizations like UNA here, will really help you a long way. So if you babyogeddeko, naye maybe one thing change njagala okuteekako ennyesera for the parents who are on. The very first way of paying for college is nurturing your child's talents ng'akyali mwana muto. That is the best way of preparing your child to succeed in college and in other areas of life. That unfortunately, we in the diaspora are putting 90% of our effort on making the money and making sure that it is there, but we forget those alternative ways of paying for college. Like the one the young man Lule shared about the serving in the army, even starting at a young age in high school. Those are alternative ways. Like everything, one thing I really love about these countries is that it is not like Uganda where everything is about money. Here, some things can really be about strategy. It can really be about knowledge. I'm urging the young leaders today who are present, please look out for knowledgeable people, like real professionals in different areas that we are talking about today. For these different town halls, for the different meetings that are going to come, look out for professionals in, for example, college planning, professionals who help like with essay writing. We have a Ugandan group here in Waltham that is doing that. It is called Africano. I'll be talking to one of the leaders and sharing the information with Salongo. He will pass it on. They really do a good job, getting some of the people, for example, the coaches who are working on the teams to recruit for talent, to tell you what they really look for and how they can help parents, in our communities. Talking, for example, to the teachers who are in charge of the army recruitment, to once in a while volunteer and come and talk to our communities about some of these things. Getting financial professionals to come on board, people who can, teach different areas with professional authenticity on what is supposed to be done, will help us go a long way. So after the one for talent, parents, again, we must start early saving for college. We cannot start looking for scholarships, running around looking for loans, looking for this, for that, when we have been with these children for more than 10, 15, 30 years. We should start early. I'm trying to push in my area here where I'm teaching and other platforms that, like, for example, these big parties we have in our communities, baby showers, gender reveal, wherever, where parents are splashing so much money. How about we channeled some of these finances to investment accounts so that by the time our children reach a certain age, we can be able, for example, to finance what they really want to study. We can be able to support them, make sure we can afford their home, their boarding, we can afford textbooks, we can afford all those things. Because one of the reasons, again, we African Americans or Black Africans perform poor in school is because we have that pressure, You have to remind your parents 100 times that the tuition is due, things like that. So parents should start early, even before we reach now the age, like the age of you young people who are here today. And then we should get financial literacy. Dear leaders, youth leaders, and the parents, let's organize. I work with a brokerage called World Financial Group, which is in USA and in Canada, but we give free financial literacy to groups. Financial literacy, like on setting financial goals, on saving, on investment, on debt management, on wealth building. Financial literacy will help young people go a long way in really ensuring that they go through college without dropping out, and also managing their debts if they get any. I have a young man I met here in Waltham. He made a plan, and shockingly, his parents are very rich. His dad is one of the senior ministers back home in Uganda. The mother is very okay. But he was like, no, I'm not going to rely on these people that much. He decided during the holidays, he gets some work. He saves. After saving, he puts his money in different investment products. By the time this young man was graduating, he had paid a big portion of his loan. And he also chose a course that can quickly give him a high return on investment, because he did a degree, I think, in radiology. He started with a diploma. He's now going for a degree. So he did that diploma. By the time he was graduating, he got a job in Boston Medical, and he has been able to offset his debt in a very short time. The last time I talked to him, he was like, you see now, as I get rid of this loan, I'm saving now for my house, I'm putting something aside just in case I lose my job. That financial literacy is very, very important as we grow up, as we take on debt, because like I told you, student debt is a no-go area if you do not know, or if you're not ready to manage its consequences and the other things that come with it. So financial literacy, dear leaders, as you plan. For me, I'm around. We have other people also in my team, in the community. I have a young man in the community who's teaching on entrepreneurship. We have a number of people who have really, really good information that can help us manage finances better. If you get a an education loan and you depend on your parent to pay, you're in for a very, very big shock.
Yeah, onsanyusizza nnyo okubeera nti you are exonerating the parents. Naye kakati nze ali mu grade 10, ali mu grade 11, ali mu grade 12, nze agezaako okuyingira mu college oba university. Ebya finance binkwatirako wa?
So nti financial literacy good enough these days. Bagitadde mu masomero. I don't know whether there is anyone present today eyafuna financial literacy either in high school or at college. Like for me, my when nsomera, it is a must. Bw'oba togisomye, you lose certain credits. Kuba bakizuulanga abaana abasinga bajja, they take on these loans, basuubira abazadde bagenda kusasula, and then they default. Oluusi omuzadde n'addayo, especially babeera ba immigrants. Mubadde mukimanyi nti for us people of color, after 20 years tuba tetunnamalayo student loan. After 20 years, most, I think it is around either 85 or 95. Neerabidde that statistic, but it is between 85 and 95. Abantu fe abaddugavu nga tumaze okugraduating emyaka 2. Lwaki? Nti nze ntambula mu community ne weewuunya abantu ebintu bye basoma, nga abasinga basoma bintu just for hobby. Omuntu n'agenda n'asoma ekintu nga naawe olabira ddala. For example, nina mukwano gwange omu yagenda n'akola degree wano mu Berkeley School of Music nga ya almost $10,000. N'amala okugraduatinga nga teyagitandika ng'alina plan engeri gy'agenda okuggyamu ssente ezo. Kati already ebbanja lyatandika okwaccumulatinga, yali ambuza bannange tukoze tutya. Nti abazadde, the reason why I'm not exonerating them as per se, naye njagala the young people to be mentally prepared. Kubanza abazadde mwensi bankola nsomesa makanisa, nsomesa groups, nsiba ntambula, I teach very big groups of people. Ate sina bannayuganda bokka, even nina Liberians, nina clients from Sierra Leone, Ghana, naye bonna abazadde bamanyi abaana bwe bagenda kusasula. Nti ku bazadde 100 osangako abazadde nga 5 nga be balina plan that is going to help those children pay off that debt.
Right.
So ekyo kintu kikulu nnyo, mufune financial literacy. Nti omuntu, if you for example open a savings account n'okuŋŋanyizaamu akasente ko nga buli bwe kawera, you put it in an investment. If anything happens to your parent, or if your parent fails to pay, God forbid, you have a plan B. If your parent pays well and good, you can invest that money maybe in a mutual fund, you can deposit it on a house or something. But biri ebya Uganda ebyabazadde tusasulira, ndaba abaana e Kampala, omwana n'asoma, buli bw'omubuuza yadde yasoma degree n'ayongerako endala n'ayongerako, nga yanyumirwa bunyumirwa because abazadde basobola okusasula. Here in the US, it can be really, really brutal. So n'ekirala kye tulina okukola is understanding what is at stake, especially for people like who are preparing, especially like in high school. Obanga akyali ne ku myaka egyo gye wabadde oyogerako ssebo mwami Sally, nti it is very, very important for young people to realize that actually this is their future, nobody else's. Ekyo kasita okitegeera ng'omaze. And if you do not really get to know that, it can be very detrimental. In one of my classes, tubaddengamu n'omuvubuka ava in one of the Central African countries. Naye ng'oli omuvubuka professor yamwegayirira obwegayirizi munnange nga tewaze kusoma. You know, what is going on? The parents get a loan, or they are using savings that they could invest somewhere, and a person gwe babiteekako tamanyi kiri at stake, tayagala kumanya, you know. So it is very important that we know what is at stake in terms of money, whether it is a scholarship, whether it is a grant, whether it is the parent paying, whether it is a loan. Know what is at stake so that you plan accordingly. And then for the choice of universities, especially here in the US, because I know for Canada, they try to help their citizens somehow, somewhere. Please, 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 Mbasaba, for the universities, compare costs. Do research. When I was doing that paper, on college debt, did you know that here in the USA, for example, private colleges are 6 times more expensive than a community college and 4 times more expensive than a state college, but they even have no teachers?
Right.
Tubadde tukimanyi twoyanziza nnyo.
Nti osasule ssente nnyingi nnyo bawulire nti osomera mu private naye ng'okuggyako okubeera nti gy'oli eyo nga ne by'osoma abakusomesa. Nze natandikira mu community college and we had most of those professors, like for my paralegal course, most of those retired judges, retired attorneys, nga be batusomesa. Credible people. Bw'osanga omusajja n'akugamba nali mulamuzi mu kkooti eya district wane Waltham.
I think it also depends on the program you're pursuing. But some people choose private colleges or universities because of the social capital that they get from those institutions. People have to be strategic. You have to plan. Why do you choose a private over a community or state university? Think about it critically. If you are looking for social capital, you could succeed, but at what cost, right? Because sometimes if you go to a private institution, college or university, chances are that if you're applying for a job, the same college. So it depends on where you want to go as well. If you want to do acting, for example, for example, Joe Wadley Berkeley School of Music, right? If the private gund college esomesa music oba arts and acting, right? Namwe talking at college abantu abasinga bayingira Hollywood bagenda mweno college. That's why people go to private colleges.
Maybe right? I can clarify on that. Katife here in Massachusetts, for example, kati ezeza private eziri specialized zireke. Twina private, what they call private predatory colleges. And they target specifically either communities Dugavu, Hispanic, or immigrants. They know we don't know. They know we don't know that they have no teachers. They know we don't know the cost implications. They come with those, flavored, I should call them flavored offers. Naye abaana abasinga betwina wano mu community wane Massachusetts abasinga basomayo semester emu oba bbiri nga biri so expensive tebabisobola bamaze okubulirako banaye ensomera wali private. For example, it will cost someone 6 times more to do nursing in a private college compared to someone agikoledde mu community college. Nti weesanga nti ssente ezaali kusomesezza n'omalako ogenze n'osoma mu semi-stage just for sure. Yeah. So ekyo abazadde tujja gezaako bapushinga kuba era communities zaffe bw'ogenda ku predatory colleges ezo communities zaffe be basinga okubanja ate nga abaana basinga abasomerayo tebasobola kugraduatinga. Then nekirala kye tuba tulina okukola nti if you get
we are almost wrapping up. I want to I want to give Farouk an opportunity to respond to some of the information you have shared and to see if he has any questions or some sort of feedback on what you have suggested.
Yeah, just two more things. I'll be brief. So in fact can be briefing ebisembayo ebisatu. Ekisooka, if you have like a student loan, start paying early. Don't wait to graduate. That is very important. Ekyokubiri, always pay on time. Like I told you, if you default for student loan, it is serious business byakusaaga. Ekyokusatu, if you can during the holidays, get a loan, get a job, and whatever money you're making from the job, temuzono na bannange, invest it somewhere, ebere backup plan, and then ekisemberayo ddala, even before you take up the student loan, have a debt management plan in place. Tomala gafuna bbanja nga toplaninze engeri ki gy'ogenda disasula. That is a financial principle. So I think that is that in brief. Yeah.
Right.
Farouk.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Golda, for that information. I wanted to really point out something that you talked about, the predatory colleges. A lot of people will not have heard of them in that terminology, predatory colleges, but what they will have heard is for-profit schools, right? These are your original, let's say, Allied something health academy, and they teach nursing. This school teaches, they offer degrees and certificates into, let's say, automotive mechanics and whatever. But you have to look up the school, because if a school is non-profit and for-profit, they have to identify that, right? Through the Department of Education. And a lot of times, one of the ways you can tell whether a school is for-profit or not for-profit is you can see on their website, number one, but also a lot of times in the United States, if it's your first time going to college, you have access to financial aid, FAFSA. If you go to a for-profit school, in most cases, you will not qualify for FAFSA. FAFSA will say you don't qualify to get financial aid because you're going to a for-profit school, right? Or it just might be a little hard, but maybe the school cannot justify to FAFSA why the costs, whatever. But as you have said, in terms of advising, please, at all costs, try to avoid for-profit colleges. Try to utilize your community colleges. A lot of them are very good. Where at a certain point, I talked about the need to visit colleges and determine what is going on at that school. A lot of times, the difference between colleges and a college from another that you have to find out is what is the faculty composed of, right? Is one faculty composed of academia, people who are in research and whatnot, whereas one school has faculty that is engaged with professionals, people who are actually teaching as their second job. During daytime or during some other time, they're working at some other institute. Maybe you find a biology teacher who's in school for about 4 hours a day, but at all other times they're working at the NIH, right? That changes your education in the sense that now you have a route to the outside world, right? You will find that a lot of community college professors are either students at universities close by, they're master's graduate students, right? You find that a lot of them are professionals. They're people who are working within the area. And you also find that sometimes there are a lot of people who are still involved in the community and they can help you out, right? But you're getting all this access to information in this network of people in a small place that is affected, that is supportive of your community and is also cheap.
Right.
Oh,
interesting conversation, very informative. I think we have all benefited in this conversation. I wish we can go on for another hour with all these resources that we have in the room. Salongo Chigundu, message eno girowoozaako gye tufunye olwaleero. Do we still have any questions in the comments oba tuli bulungi? And how do you want us to wrap up this conversation? Because unfortunately it's 2 hours now. So
yes,
I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah. Tuchik B, as I say, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate very much our youthful leaders. Thank you very, very much for coming to us. And again, I keep repeating this because it's something I feel very good about. Thank you so much for taking the initiative, coming up with the topic, reaching out to us, you're reaching out to the leaders. So you're on the right track, keep going, and we're here to support you. Thank you, Golda, for reaching out and saying, well, the kids are going to talk about college preparedness. there's money aspect of that. And thank you very much for all that wealth of information that you've shared. And looking forward to partnering with you again in the future in other engagements. Thank you so much. Thank you, Henry, for hosting us. And thank you for the University of Toronto Alumni Association. It looks like there are benefits of going to certain schools because the alumni also matters. It goes into a social capital, and I think it's one of those things that students and parents need to look at. What kind of alumni does the school have? So maybe that's what that might be worth the cost of going into a certain school. Other than that, my conclusions are always UNA San Francisco is coming up. Please look out to that. Go to www.unaonline.org and sign up to become members. There's also a network of professionals. I think it is still up on that website. They've been revamping it, so I don't know if it's been shifted around, but we encourage people, all kinds of professionals, to go sign up so we know in which professions you are, so that we can link you up with a youthful leader like this one, or those that they lead, for purposes of mentorship. Right? We need a lot of that in our communities. So once again, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to so much more down the road. Thank you very much.
Of course, there is a lot more coming up. I want to thank Farouk, Mr. Farouk Rule, and your colleagues for this conversation. I'm pretty sure everyone out there who has been listening to this conversation has benefited. If you haven't benefited, if you still have questions on how to navigate these processes, please feel free to shoot us an email at africanalumni@gmail.com or africanalumni@ut.toronto.ca. Thank you, Mr. Media Consultant Salongo Robert Chigundu. It's been a pleasure hosting this with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank the establishment of UNA for listening to these youth, and I'm hoping that the challenge they have brought to you to help them host a town hall regarding these questions, because there are so many students and parents out there who have questions that we were not able to answer here in the last 2 hours. I want to thank Ms. Golder for the very, very vital financial information that she has shared. And hopefully every one of you can go back and listen to those insights in anticipation that they will help you or your child become a better college or university citizen. My name is Henry Sully. I am the leader of the University of Toronto African Alumni Association, the first and most exclusive university African alumni, both in Canada and probably the US. I haven't seen another African Alumni Association. I challenge you to bring one and let me know when it was established. We are the first in Canada, hopefully in North America. We help students, young students, with mentorship and guidance. So reach out to us if you are a student, if you're a high school student. We are organizing a tour to the University of Toronto. So abazadde mwenna abali eyonga mwina abana bamwe obeera Canada obeera Toronto, we shall have a tour before Christmas to the University of Toronto, so that you can know where is the School of Astronomy, where is the School of Engineering, where can I craft my where can I learn my craft to engage in artificial intelligence. We shall have a University of Toronto tour for all those students who are interested. Please reach out to the Senior Volunteer Coordinator, Catherine Bate, through africanalumni@gmail.com, and she will get back to you with the dates. We shall be, of course, publishing those dates. But I want to thank each and every one of you who has been following us. mugende ku YouTube munonye either African Alumni or Sally Henry. Subscribe, follow. Let us engage in these conversations as we continue to elevate our communities. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Happy Cyber Monday for those of you. Don't spend a lot. Mubi ulidde ndowooza. Naye nga tubagala nnyo mwe ddala. See you later. This is the state of the nation. Irifa Mugwanga. We are deliberate, we are reasonable, we are uncensored. The state of the nation with Henry Sally.